Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, welcome back to another interesting video. Today we're going to be reacting to a suggestion given to us by a fellow subscriber, an active member in the community. It's German Soldier Remembers World War II, Memoirs of WWII, number 15. Very interesting stuff. If you guys are new to the channel, welcome. If you guys are returning viewers, welcome back. We post videos every single day, mainly tied around Europe or the Balkan region as a whole. That's what this channel has become, and slices of my life in between. Like, comment, and subscribe. Tell your friends about it. It's pretty interesting over here. We're going to dive nose deep into this thing and see exactly what we're working with and open up some interesting discussion. You guys are also probably seeing this after the Twitch stream, so if you want to catch me live, link is in the description down below at twitch.tv/JamesBrayGang. We stream randomly, so follow me there so you can be a part of these random live streams. Oh yeah. Los Goods. Before we get started with that, let's turn up this fucking volume. All right, let's go.
Friedrich Franz Schmitz. And I remember on September the 1st, 1939, Hitler was on the radio telling that the war started. Since 5 o'clock this morning, our troops marching into Poland, doing whatever they do best. 6 months later, Hitler marched into the France.
Oh, fuck.
The British came and the Americans came into the war.
Jesus Christ, dude. How did they have, like, I know they had cameras back then and stuff, but this looks super intense to bring, like camera crews during World War II. Imagine how intense it would have to be like a public affairs personnel during this time, right? Like, oh my God. That would be insane. Can I agree to family member? Yeah, of course. Yeah, I know. Oh shit. Oh fuck.
And I talked to my grandpa, and he told me, he said, if they want to win the war, they said, it don't look too good. He said, don't say that, Grandpa. We cannot lose the war. That was not even remotely in my mind that we ever could lose a war, you know, because we were so conditioned politically.
Oh,
Hitler controlled the newspapers, they controlled the radio, and Goebbels, the propaganda minister, he controlled everything else.
This guy was actually alive during World War II. That is fucking crazy. That's crazy. What? How? First up, how did they find him? How did they find this man? I mean, I know I didn't just realize that, but like I just processed that this guy was really alive during World War II. Like, was a part of it. Like, that's insane.
And we listened to the news, and they told us all about going on in the Western Front and how successful they are and all that. And then we walked outside and we heard the guns. And you say, well, that is too close from what they tell us where they're supposed to be.
What the fuck, bro? This is intense. Bro, there are a lot of these videos online. Are you serious? I did not know that. I talked with my great-grandpa when I was little. He lived through both world wars. Holy shit. Yo, you have to tell me about that. That sounds intense. Like, I want to hear those stories. Like, I'm curious because I used to I tried to find as many books as possible on the World War when I was like a kid, because I don't know, I felt like our school didn't teach us as much as I wanted to know about the war, you know? And there's so many different memoirs, there's so many different perspectives, and it's millions and millions of people, millions and millions of different perspectives, and they're so vastly like different, but also so similar, you know? It's so crazy because it's like putting together the world's biggest puzzle, you know? And obviously, like it is straightforward pretty much what happened, but there were so many different things happening at the same time during the World War, economically, socially, financially, just physically. It's insane. So seeing these is just gut wrenching in a way. Like, it's fucking crazy. He said war is the biggest BS ever. He was a POW in England and said they treated him well. Oh, wow. Joiner FYM says the childhood of my grandma, where the ruins of Poland. Wait a minute. Wait. He said the childhood of my grandmother, where the ruins. Wait. So basically, Poland. The ruins of Poland was where your grandmother grew up. She was a nurse in England at the time. Oh my God. Why don't you look at the channel Simple History? Oh, we definitely got to look at that after this for sure. A lot of history reactions today then, guys. Because that's something, I'm telling you, I'm obsessed with the history. Like, I just want to know more. Like, it's crazy. Like, I want to like fully like immerse myself in that shit. Because it's like, there's so much stuff that happened. And I'm like, oh my God, man. Like, when you hear these stories, like what the families had to go through, and like the fear that a lot of people had to like live through and stuff like that, it is wild. Even like listening to older American soldiers' stories from World War II. I think I want to say one of the last soldiers from World War II passed recently though. But like listening to their stories is so fucking intense. It's like intense because war is not the same. It is not the same. When we think of war now, it is not the way it was back then, man. Like, oh man, it's crazy. And I will tell you this, war is BS. It's just one rich person telling another rich person, I don't like you, basically. And then all these people in between that don't want to have anything to do with this are marching over to attack other groups of people that also don't want to attack the opposition as well, you know? But they have to because that's what they signed up for. And, you know, it's crazy. And it makes me think and wonder, right? If you're religious, because a lot of people who are in the military on both sides are Christian, you know? From that standpoint, would you go to heaven if you wound up taking someone's life in a war? Especially if you were forced to be a part of a regime that was like horrible, you know? Like, if you're a Christian and you were forced to be in a regime and take people's lives and stuff, right? Like, you would think, based on that, you wouldn't really be going to the best place. I'm just saying. But then on the flip side, even no matter what the cause, isn't killing bad anyways, you know? It's just, it's weird and wild, man. Our world history is so twisted. And the older I get and the more I find out, I'm just like, bro, what the heck, man? It's so crazy. Joiner says God forgives if you regret. Oh shit. It goes so against Christianity to fight and kill each other, but I guess the other option is your own life as well. Well, if not, a whole generation would be missing up there on both sides. Facts, exactly. That's what I'm saying. Like, I don't know. It seemed like the underground got a huge party going on, man. And you know what's weird? What if we all, in the afterlife, right? It's just one big ass universe of people, every single kind of people, the good people, the bad people, the ugly, all in one big area, like gigantic area. That would be intense. But anyways, I digress. Jesus, man, this shit is crazy. They actually, like I'm telling you, the intensity behind whoever was filming this. Oh man, shout out to them for filming this, man, because this is...
Following their defeat in the First World War, Germany was reeling from the harsh conditions of a peace treaty that left the country shamed and buried in economic crisis. But in 1933, when a radical new leader rose to power, promising to restore Germany...
Bro. What the fuck? It's crazy because he said some wild shit. Shit so wild that like, it's like, why would you believe it? But then if you look at the situation that the country was in at the time, you're like, damn, like a lot of people were going with what he was saying because it's like, hey, well, you can't go any lower than rock bottom, you know? So shit, we'll take what we can get for a lot of people. I just find it crazy how he rose to power so fast and nobody saw that what he was doing was fucking horrible. Like, or maybe they realized it when he already had all the power and it was too late, you know? Because everything he was talking about seemed way too fucking extreme.
and place it at...
I mean, he did have enemies. Oh, well, yeah, that is true.
the forefront of world powers. The people were captivated. Adolf Hitler's reign brought swift economic relief, and the German military was quickly on the rise. But his radical political party enforced totalitarianism over the government and the public, making Nazism synonymous with the German way of life.
They had everything organized. You couldn't get lost or fall through the cracks. You know, there were no cracks. You were part of it if you liked it or not.
That's messed up. So I wonder what happened to people who spoke out against it. Because you know how rebellious teenagers are? Like, what if, like, this is wrong? Like, what the fuck? Like, I don't want to do this shit. This is messed up. Because I'm pretty sure that's probably happened before. Like, what do you think happened to them? Like, people that try to speak out against shit like that. Like, I know that they had the system so tight, so strict. Like, boom. Oh, you got... Oh, man. That's so scary, man. Like, if you guys have seen the movie The Sound of Music, like, generally speaking, yeah, it's a really good, cutesy, family-friendly movie. But that also took place during World War II. And you get to see some crazy sides, some very eerie sides of that movie. Like, it was so fucking crazy. I was like, what the fuck? Like, I was scared watching part of that movie, like, towards the end. Because I'm like, yo, like, what is going on? Did I know the movie about Die Welle? No, I don't know what that is. Is it a good movie? That's the fucked up thing. Almost the whole Europe was fucking... And the only country that took responsibility. And only one... Yeah, so that's what I don't like about that shit, too. Germany is the only country that stood up and said, hey, we're a part of this. Boom. Well, all eyes were on Germany. Austria had a huge part to play in that shit. We all know Russia was a huge part of that shit. China was obviously like... Well... I'm not sure. Well, I guess they kind of were a part of that, right? I guess they were. I feel like the other countries took responsibility for it. We really can't do shit to Russia, but we couldn't really do shit because we weren't. Russia wasn't willing to work with us, obviously. But what I can say is Austria, man. Austria said, huh? They ducked out of that shit, man. It's crazy, bro. Russia was not part of it. They weren't U.S. allies. Were they? Russia and the U.S. were not partnered during that. No, they weren't. They weren't. Were they? Wait, no way. No. They weren't. Hold on. Were they? That would be interesting. Where... I'm looking that up. No way. They did. What? Holy shit. Oh, only in the Cold War because they had different ideals. I'm like, wait a minute, then why were Russians and US people like bickering and shit then? So basically when Russia and the US got together, what? I think I got confused with the Cold War because I thought when America and Russia had bad blood with each other, it had always been like that. I never knew that they were like, what? They were, what? Russia was winning against Nazis and the USA came so late to this war because they were in Vietnam fighting an ideology. Oh my God. I did not realize that. See, that's exactly why I say I need to dive deeper into this. So it says in World War II, the three great Allied powers, Great Britain, the United States, and the Soviet Union formed a grand alliance that was the key to victory. Churchill and the U.S. President Franklin Delano Roosevelt had been working together for some time when the United States entered the war in 1941. That is fucking crazy. You fought together, but fought over what should happen to Germany. That's what it... Oh, that all makes sense now. Okay, this is making sense. I did not understand all that shit then before. Like, I thought that Russia and the U.S. always had bad blood. I did not know that the U.S. and Russia were actually allies at one point. Well, that would make sense, right? Because, like, if we weren't allies, then Germany would have literally like taken over a lot of shit. Like, but the thing is, Russia was mopping the floor. You know what I'm saying, with Germany for a minute, because there was the whole Moscow thing that tried to happen, and boom, that didn't happen. Literally, Russia was like, "You guys are not touching Moscow. Like, we are not gonna let that shit happen." And they fought back hard as shit. And it was the Eastern Front. I do remember that. Like, I reacted to a video about the Eastern Front and they broke it down and made it super simple, so I understood that. So they pushed Germany back, you know, once they got kind of close to Moscow. And then, boom. Why do you think it's called the Eastern Front? Oh, shit, dude. This is fucking crazy.
I got drafted into the Hitler Youth when I was 10 years old. 10? They gave us a uniform and all that, you know.
Like thousands of other German boys, Gert Schmitz was swept up in the Hitler Youth. But the draft was not without its benefits. Upon graduation, Gert was offered the opportunity to fly with the Luftwaffe.
Wow.
They said, "Do you want to go to a jet pilot training school? We have one in Fulda, Germany. And you go over there and you start training for flying Messerschmitt 262 jets." He said, "Shoot, yeah."
But before he would reach the airfield, the Allied bombing campaign would reach it first.
Damn.
And when I got up there, the hangars were bombed, the runways were bombed, the airplanes were bombed. And there was nothing left for us to do. And they said, "Well, we'll temporarily assign you to a paratrooper outfit and send you to the Western Front." So we got on the train that afternoon. We ended up in Pasewalk. We talked to the people, the local people there. They heard on the news that the Russians had just come from the south, from the east and south, and cut off that air base where we were. And that was bad news.
Gert may have escaped capture.
Dude, his fucking English is on point. Holy fuck. Jesus Christ, man. This is wild.
By the Russians. But now he was headed to the Western Front, where the British and Americans were on the advance, and the German army was in disarray.
That was chaos. The whole German armed forces was in total chaos. We didn't know where they were. I don't know where the headquarters were. You didn't know where the real front was or anything.
Jesus Christ.
You know, he was so busy surviving and fighting We either won here or we lost over there, and then go to the next. We don't know the overall picture. We have no idea what happened.
That's wild, man. The fact that he can articulate this so well is insane, man. Like, this is so crazy to me. Like, it's such an interesting perspective to look at. Just like, what the fuck? Like, this is what was going on. Like, this is wild, man. This is fucking... my mind has been blown for like the entire duration of this video. Like, Jesus Christ, man. What the fuck?
And then we finally marched into Holland. The street was open between the town and the woods where that forest where we were supposed to go into. And it was kind of exposed, you know. And the Allies always flew 8 fighter planes roaming in the sky. They had total sky superiority. And we had to get across that open space, and those guys were flying around there saying, if we go in the column over there, they see us and they're gonna mow us down. So, but if you go one guy every 100 feet, they may not even pay attention to us. So it came my time to go across, and the guy paid attention to me.
Oh, shit.
And he came and started shooting at me, and I went into that deep ditch. And as soon as he went past me, I got out and run down toward the woods. And when I came the other way, I jumped back in the ditch. And finally got wise. Instead of going across, he came down alongside the ditch and just unloaded.
Oh.
Bullets flying behind me and in front of me. I mean, there was bullets flying every way.
Shit.
So he got up and I ran and I didn't go back.
It's also good to hear it from the people themselves telling their story without any media circus tempering with it. Yeah, because media makes everything real weird, man. Like, when you hear like stories of people who have gone through the shit, like, it's one thing to have the media blanket everything, right? It's like, oh yeah, you had these people and blah blah blah. Like, but when you have people telling their own authentic actual stories from both sides, I think that truly puts together the picture of what happened, how horrible the entire situation was, you know? Because what wasn't even emphasized in my school books was how fucking horrible this shit was. Like, I had to read books outside of school to really grasp the intensity of the shit. Like, they covered it in a kind of a fast period of school. Like, I'd say like they spent a total of maybe like a couple of weeks covering World War II. Just a couple of weeks. I remember it not being as long as I wanted it to be because I'm like, this seems like there's a lot more involved in this shit that we should know about that's not being covered. And things that now should have been zeroed in on and really discussed was definitely not talked about. So hearing this untempered, full, like raw experience from a person who used to be a part of the German military at the time is insane. Fucking sane. Like that shit is insane to me. That's insane.
Back in these, I went all the way into the woods. Yeah, that was kind of nasty. But I hate Mustangs to this day.
Yeah, we got a lot of them out here.
We were in Ramsdorf. That was my buddy and I. We were up at one end of town, and we had a bazooka. The tank came down the street, and they started shooting. And we run behind those big logs there, you know, and they couldn't hit us there. He pulled that trigger, and when he hit, it said, woof. He got that warhead right between the tracks in the body. And he just blew the hell out of the inside, and nothing moved anymore after that.
It's crazy too to hear him like talk about like actually like warring with other people and shit, you know? 'Cause that shit's insane. Like, imagine like just the fucking like you have to live with that. You have to live with that. Like, how does that affect you as a person, you know, for the rest of your life? Like, how, like your interactions with people, do you even think you would have a regular ass like marriage after some shit like that? You know, like, I don't know. That shit is insane to me. I'm gonna read the comments right now. So, yeah, I heard U.S. schools don't teach really much about the Soviet role in the war. Not at all. I never knew we were partnered with Soviet Russia. In fact, there's so many Hollywood movies painting Soviet Russia as like enemies and shit like that. It makes it seem like we were never allies, ever, you know? Asta says, we focus a lot on the Holocaust in school, but less about what it meant for simple people. Ali's name, looking back, it feels like the history lessons were only about World War I and II. Well, they were pretty big events, so I understand that. Russia freed Auschwitz, not the U.S. Oh, fuck. America made it seem like we were the only people that did that shit, to be honest. And a lot of the stories that were told, at least that the media put out there and what we learned in school, made it seem like the U.S. was like the sole group of people that freed, that freed Auschwitz.
There was another thing that was up the street, and we standing in there kind of looking down the street, see what we could do. And they said, I'm going to go on the other side of the street, because it was curved a little bit, he could see better. They said, don't go over there, that tank is up there. And while I was in the middle in the street, that tank shot one round right between his legs.
Oh, shit.
I went over there and got him. The shrapnel went into his uniform and ripped his chest open. And he was sitting with his butt in the street, and he said, and then he collapsed. When we marched into Ramsau first earlier, the company commanders told us, they say, you go point to make sure everything is all right. Way later on, after we were supposed to move out, they said, man, we probably want to point again, if we the first one on it. And the company commander said, you're the rear guard. So they said, no, you don't want to be on the rear on the way out. You want to be front. But anyway, there was an open field, and they wanted to march into the woods. And what we were way behind as a rear guard, they walked into a trap. The Americans, they already were on 3 sides, and they waited till the whole battalion marched in there, and they mowed them down.
Oh, shit.
So the 4 of us, we went off to the right into the woods and disappeared in the woods. And that's how we ended up behind enemy lines.
Oh, fuck.
Gert and his 3 comrades were on their own, disoriented and desperately searching for ever elusive friendly territory.
And then when we finally got into Dülmen, it was daylight.
They call it Dülmen? Dülmen? Dortmund? Dülmen? You guys call it Dülmen? Russia took Berlin. Well, after World War II, Russia were still enemies of America. I don't know if they were ever friends, because America is amazing in changing history by ignoring what happened and telling everyone about the great heroes they are, because America is the most patriotic country. Dülmen. So Dülmen is Dortmund? There's a castle in my hometown, and Hitler visited it. It's hard to believe that the war was literally so close. Other towns than Dortmund, they mistranslated it. Oh, shit. So it's actually Dülmen. Oh, they did mistranslate it. Because I'm like, Dülmen? They put Dortmund in here. I'm like, bro, how y'all got like $1 million production company? Y'all translated it bad. Like, what?
And that was a 6-foot fence, a chain link fence.
But this is a very good video. Oh, my God.
They say, that
your city was the capital of Germany. Oh, my God.
Must be a park. Nobody is fighting in the park, so we're going to be pretty safe. So we got over and climbed over that 6-foot fence, GIs walking all over the place there.
Oh, fuck.
And they saw us and they started shooting at us. They had a 2.5 truck with machine guns on
Oh,
them.
shit.
They came around and started shooting at us with that. And then we said, we got to get out of this park. So we jumped over the fence. Then there was tanks on the outside.
Holy fuck. How is he alive to tell this story? How the fuck is he alive? How? That, yo, this story sounds so fucking intense. How the fuck is he alive? That's insane, yo. Holy shit. I don't know, man. This is wild.
He said, that ain't not safe either. Let's jump back in the fence. We jumped back over that 6-foot fence, and then that truck came and started shooting at us. We went back over the fence again and went in the other direction, and we saw a pine forest over there, and they said, let's get into that forest and get the heck out of here. And we crawled on our stomach, and we finally got into the woods, and they came after us. And they said, well, let's hide behind the trees till they go. If they don't see us, they might go away. And they came, and I stood behind that tree. You know, we all stood behind each one of those trees. It was just big enough to hide us. And they said, what I'm going to do, you know, so we can't run. They're going to start shooting at us. And I finally, I put my hand out and waved, you know, say, hi. And they said, come on out, you know.
Oh, shit. God damn, man. He gave himself up? That's crazy. Bro, that dude, man, he I mean, there's not very many options you could do, because, like, imagine, like, knowing the position you're in, it's up in the air from there, man. I told you, 2 things you never want to have your name attached to. And, bro, like, America, man, I'm just now finding out how messed up America was during World War II, because we were doing wild shit to people, like, as well, like, but it never gets covered. It never gets covered. All the fucked up shit America does, we try to bury it with a quickness. It's so crazy.
Hands up. And that's how we got captured.
Now in American custody, intended for relocation to a POW camp in the United States, Gert began the long journey across Europe. From prison camp to prison camp, he passed the time by drawing pictures to document his experiences. But before Gert would reach the French coast, Germany surrendered, the war came to an end, and the prisoners were sent back to their homes. The Germany Gert returned to was very different than he remembered. Hitler was gone, the Nazi Party dissolved, and Gert himself had acquired a fresh perspective.
I didn't realize how bad it was, but then after the war, everything came democratic, you know, and peaceful. And I said, wait a minute, that's a hell of a lot different than what we went through, all that, you know. I didn't know about the full extent of the concentration camp because that was kept so well secret, you know, that we heard about it, you know, but they said that's where murderers go in and wife beaters, you know, and they supposed to be rehabilitated, but they didn't do that. And I didn't know the full extent till
Wow, because they knew that, like, if they told even the soldiers what was really going down in those camps, they probably wouldn't have been cool with that either. And there would have been a lot more attempts to try to help people that were in the camps escape and stuff. It's like some, like, really weird, psychologically fucked up shit, dude.
Till I came to the United States.
Following the war, Gert immigrated to the U.S., served with the Army, and went on to a career in aerospace engineering, working alongside Wernher von Braun. Gert served his country honorably in the Second World War, but like all of those who survived, regardless of what side, he hopes to one day live in a world free of violent conflict.
War is the stupidest thing that man invented.
It is, man. It's so sad because even when I was like little, I'm like, bro, think about it, man. I have to engage and eliminate someone else off the face of the planet, not because of a personal issue I have, but an issue that my government has with another country. So if I see someone I don't know and I'm told you got to erase them from this planet, I got to erase them. They don't care. What's even crazier too, they don't care about your mental health. They don't care about you. They just care that you're physically capable of taking the life of another person, you know, so that you can carry out what you're meant to do and get it done. And it sucks. Like, you know, I knew that though when I signed up myself, and I don't regret joining. I don't regret joining at all, because there was a lot of really cool things and a lot of cool people I would have never been able to meet had I not done this. But the concept behind it is definitely very messed up, because it's not just the US, it's also like the world, you know, like why do we have to engage in all this? And I can tell you why. I know why. Money. It's simply money. Money, 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 money. People will literally initiate whole international conflicts just to generate revenue for their country. That's literally what it is, you know? It's crazy as hell. And it's so sad, man. It's so fucking sad. Like, this is a good video, bro.
If you can't talk it out, if you cannot communicate, you start fighting.
Yeah.
You have to do away with your problem. You have to annihilate your problem. But that is not a solution.
Because the problem's still there.
That just create more problems. Don't fight. Talk it out. There got to be a solution. There is always a solution.
That shit is sad as fuck, dude. It's so fucking sad, man, because there's so many families on both sides that were fucking like annihilated, torn apart, and just fucking like just ruined, man. Like, there's so many people that got ruined from shit like this, and it's so fucked. And yo, the stories from Japan, oh my God, the people in Japan that had nothing to do with the calls that their country were making to the US and the aftermath of the bombs, bruh. That was one of the saddest parts of the entire war that there were so many sad, like World War II easily I feel like was the nastiest war that we've ever had. Like World War I was pretty intense, but World War II was easily the nastiest war we've ever had, like ever, because there were so many fucking people that were just like going through the worst possible shit, like stuff that we can't even begin to imagine at that time. Like, imagine having 2 whole suns dropped on your country, right? And surviving that shit and seeing everybody around you that's half alive, skin melted, like, you know, limbs all distorted, rubble everywhere, and the people who are alive just choking on the gas from the aftermath. Like, the shit is so crazy. And then everybody knows about the Holocaust. Like, people went into vivid detail about that, obviously, because it was almost like a whoa, like, look what we found. Like, this is crazy. Like, you won't believe this. And then in interviewing Holocaust survivors and stuff, you hear like the horrible, horrible, horrible shit that went down there. What a wild, wild, wild slice of history. It's a huge slice too. It's like cutting like 3/4 of a cake, being like, boom, there it is. Like, it's a fucked up, oh my God, dude. Whew. That shit got me in my feelings, my guy. That's a sad fucking, it's a good documentary, but that shit is sad as fuck, my guy.